After 18 days of complete silence on the Pokemon Company's behalf and on Junichi Masuda's Twitter page after the E3 No National Dex announcement, they have finally responded directly to fans in a brand new statement. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I posted a video about Masuda's interviews where he explains why the decision was made to cut the Pokédex. But this new statement is the first time that the Pokemon Company itself has responded, and the first time that either of them have responded directly to the fans themselves, instead of just media outlets asking direct questions. We're going to read through and dissect the message in just a second, but I want to first give a bit of important context before we do. The new message came in a tweet posted on the official Pokemon Company's Twitter account yesterday, June 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern, and Masuda's Twitter account, which technically serves as GameFreak's official account, today at 2:30 a.m. Eastern. Interestingly, the Pokemon Company's Japanese Twitter account did not post the messages at all, which either shows that they think this issue isn't as big with the Japanese fans and is only really a Western issue, which I've seen lots of Japanese fans being very upset with the National Dex issue, even on Masuda's tweets, so I don't quite get that. Or they think that Masuda's account will suffice in letting them know, even though it has around 500,000 less followers and doesn't necessarily represent the Pokemon Company itself. Just something I found very interesting. Now, perhaps more interesting than this is the fact that this is the first time I can ever remember the Pokemon Company itself actually having to put out a statement due to fan reactions, which I think shows that this is possibly the most important issue that fans have ever had with the main series games, or perhaps anything Pokemon related. I was personally super excited when I first saw this tweet since it's kind of a monumental event. The Pokemon Company for once talking to its fans, having a dialogue, and showing in some sense that they care about the fans' opinions. This was actually the first step that I recommended for them to do in my How to Fix the Sword and Shield Crisis video, so given all of this, I was expecting a response that was kind of proportionate to the severity of the issue. But I'll let you guys be the judge of whether it was or not. Without any further ado, let's see exactly what they had to say about this situation. So if you click on the link contained in the tweets themselves, you're taken to the official Pokemon Company's website, where the message starts off as follows. Thank you to all of our fans for caring so deeply about Pokemon. Recently, I shared the news that some Pokemon cannot be transferred to Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. I've read all of your comments and appreciate your love and passion for Pokemon. Now, I think this is a pretty good start to the message. It's recognizing how deeply we care about the Pokemon franchise, and that the only reason we've been so upset and adamant about it being fixed is that we want the Pokemon franchise to succeed. It's also recognizing the nearly infinite comments that have been posted by Pokemon fans, so it shows that the Pokemon Company is indeed capable of seeing the fan reaction to certain elements of the games, if we speak out loud enough about it. But the key question is, did they actually listen to our voices? Let's keep reading. He next says, just like all of you, we are passionate about Pokemon, and each and every one of them is important to us. After so many years of developing the Pokemon video games, this was a very difficult decision for me. I'd like to make one thing clear. Even if a specific Pokemon is not available in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, that does not mean it will not appear in future games. Even this section starts off well too. Masuda's basically saying yes, each and every Pokemon is important to both fans and the company itself, which I think is obvious. Every Pokemon out there is someone's favorite, and yes, this even includes Stunfisk, Volbeat, and yes, even Licky for instance. But he then says that this was a very difficult decision for him. And here's where I start to have a problem. It was a difficult decision not because it took more work, if anything, it definitely takes less work. But right here he's recognizing that cutting the National Dex and some of the Pokemon from the game is, at the very least, something suboptimal. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a difficult decision to make. He has right here admitted that sacrifices have been made, and given the fan response, he should then recognize that they are likely not good sacrifices, nor sacrifices that the customers want. But instead, he goes on to say perhaps the most important line of this whole statement. Even if a specific Pokemon is not available in Sword and Shield, that does not mean it will not appear in future games. Now, this is something that fans have kind of been speculating for a while, ever since this whole National Dex debacle came to light. We all know that the Sword and Shield games don't just not have the National Dex, but they also don't have the missing Pokemon coded into the games at all, and that's an important distinction to make. This means that there would have to be a patch to include them all in, which Masuda appears to have negated entirely by confirming that these Pokemon will just not appear in Sword and Shield at all, but they might be available in future games. What happens with this all depends on what the next games in the series are after Sword and Shield. Looking at the standard trajectory of the main series, minus Let's Go of course, we can either expect 3rd version or sequel games for Sword and Shield, or Diamond and Pearl remakes. In light of this, what I'm guessing will happen is that the 3rd version games for Sword and Shield will actually have the National Dex itself as one of the post-game bonuses that the 3rd version games usually have. This gives them extra time to develop the remaining models and also provides immense incentive for fans to purchase the 3rd version games, which they have sometimes struggled with doing in the past. If this were to happen, that means we could transfer upwards from Sword and Shield to the 3rd version game, but some Pokemon will not be able to be transferred backward into Sword and Shield from the sequels, or 3rd versions. We've definitely seen this happen before, as was the case with trading from Red Blue Yellow to Gold Silver Crystal. They might even do something like Gen 3, where it was Ruby Sapphire, then Fire Red and Leaf Green, then Emerald, with Emerald being the kind of pinnacle game that contained everything at once. If they did it this way, then Sword and Shield would be followed by Diamond and Pearl remakes, which could kind of fill in lots of Pokemon that weren't in Sword and Shield, and then the sequel or 3rd version game would be some sort of Ultimate Edition that has all the Pokemon available. And of course, the Diamond and Pearl remakes will be able to fill in perhaps a lot of Gen 4 Pokemon that are missing from Sword and Shield. Although in terms of adding new Pokemon in the Diamond and Pearl remakes, it's kind of weird because we have seen a lot of Gen 4 Pokemon in the Galar region so far in the trailers. I can't remember all of them at the moment, but a few that do come to mind are Weavile, Snover, Lucario, Mantike, Munchlax, Hippopotas, Roserade, Driftblim, Bronzong, etc. So in terms of potential Diamond and Pearl remakes adding in a lot of Gen 4 Pokemon for a later National Dex, it seems unlikely at the moment since so many are already in. It's very tough to say, but this sentence does give us a lot to think about and gives us an indication as to where things might be headed in the future. And then finally, Masuda ends off by saying, "The world of Pokemon continues to evolve. The Galar region offers new Pokemon to encounter, trainers to battle, and adventures to embark on. We are pouring our hearts into these games, and we hope you will look forward to joining us on this new journey." And here once again we have the emphasis on this being a brand new journey and the Pokemon franchise evolving. We've definitely seen this narrative before. Black and White comes to mind for instance, but still it had the National Dex in the end. We're all okay with there being new Pokemon, new trainers, and a new adventure, obviously. The problem is that even after we experience all the new stuff, we can't have the full variety of Pokemon to experiment with in battles and take our favorites throughout the new Galar region to experience the post-game elements. We all love the main series games, and we as fans understand that a lot of hard work goes into each and every one of them. But when time, resources, and people are being divided between perhaps the most anticipated Pokemon games ever since they're finally on the home console, and another side project game, namely Town, it frustrates us that the game won't feel complete since the principal feature of the games, the Pokemon themselves, many of them will be missing entirely when the resources are there to be able to do this. In my opinion, this response doesn't change much. Yes, it's nice that our concerns were at least recognized in some way, but there was little attempt to actually address them besides, well, we're not changing or addressing the fact that many Pokemon are gone in Sword and Shield, but hey, they might not be gone forever. My hope that this first Pokemon Company response to fan concerns ever contained some sort of solution was definitely struck down pretty quickly. It seems that the more we hear from them, the more hope seems to fade. Up until now, I was still hoping that maybe a patch would be introduced a couple months after release that added in the missing Pokemon, which I'd be absolutely okay with. After all, as I've said before, Pokemon Bank has only been opened a couple months after the release of the past few games, which gave us a chance to experience the new region and the new Pokemon before we then wanted to expand the post-game with our favorites that we've spent so much time adventuring with, training, and even shiny hunting. My personal last remaining hopes at this point is that either Pokemon Home will have a battling system featuring all of the Pokemon, or there will be a definitive or ultimate version of these games that does include the National Dex. But I want far more additional content before I even consider buying them. Something that should have been included in this game, the National Dex, will absolutely not suffice as additional content for a third version or sequel game. These things had better be pretty darn impressive if they do eventually come out. Well, there we go everyone, an analysis of the Pokemon Company's official response to us, the Pokemon fans. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications on so you're the first to see new videos. Make sure to let me know what your thoughts on Masuda's message are, and what exactly is going to happen now that the No National Dex decision has kind of been solidified. I'm sure you guys have a lot to say just like I do, and I'm interested in seeing how other people are reacting to this new message. Thanks so much for watching everyone, this has been Spectre, and I'll see you guys next time for some more Pokemon content.